Good day once again, and welcome to the third installment of the Nanoose Bay Critters. We're going to start off this one with somebody you've seen before. Please say hello to Gramps and Mrs. Gramps, our two favorite wolf eels located at Tai, which is Blueback Park in Nanoose Bay. Mrs. Gramps and Gramps are a mated pair. Some say Gramps has been in that particular den for almost 20 years or more. Mrs. Gramps we see more often than not these days, and you can see how hungry they are. I know that they're wild critters, but they're used to divers. We're always respectful of them, and they seem to enjoy it. But there are other wolf eels in the area. Here's one over at Madona Point. A bit younger, you can see he's a little darker. And then we have this guy over at Dolphin Beach. A bit of an older one too. But he was shy. He actually retreated from the camera. So he's not quite as, let's just say, acclimated to divers as Gramps. Traditional jellyfish. Not many of them right now, but they're still nice to watch. Now we've got some very cool nudibranchs. Here's a sea lemon. Yes, it's called a sea lemon. Now, I think this is a regular white one. There may be a better name for it. But the next one is pretty cool because it's like a hybrid. He's white and with yellow spots. So maybe it's a sea lemon white one hybrid. I think this is a type of hydrocoral. You don't see them often, but this thing was hanging around in Tai in the shallows. There it was. Now we get down to some of my favorite critters, a classic giant nudibranch. This one, I love it. The dendrils or whatever those are have a nice dark color. They don't always have that. Here's a regular, more plain one. And Mr. Rockfish, a copper rockfish, just going by. Now, so give us a few starfish. This one is a long ray sea star, and this one is a striped sunstar. Following up with a regular morning sunstar, and off moving from starfish to anemones, here is a crimson anemone. You've probably seen most of these ones before, just like you've seen this next critter before. A sea cucumber. Look at him. He's like he didn't want to do high five with the lingcod that just went by. And he said, "Oh, okay, leave me hanging." Now, Puget Sound king crab. Love the colors on these guys. Nice to see him up close like that. And Mr. Giant Pacific Octopus, or Mrs. Also with a regular rockfish there. This guy was a little shy. He's maybe about a foot to foot and a half across the main body at the most. He was a smaller one. This is at Madona Point, I do believe. This is a big boy, also at Madona. Look at this. It's almost makes my spine shiver. Aha! These guys are Yellowtail Rockfish. You don't see as many of them, and they're nice, so when you see them, it's cool. Not to be confused with the yellowtail, this is a yellow eye rockfish, but in fact, in particular, a juvenile one. Usually a little harder to get. They're maybe 2 inches long, not that. Aha, tiger rockfish. These guys are rare too. I like seeing them. Yeah, there he is. The ubiquitous, as in they are everywhere, lingcod. Bigger one, this one. This was at about 2.5 to 3 feet. He's a pretty big one. Aha, the Cabazon. We think this is a female because of the coloring, but she was near Gramps at this time, and she's massive. Had to be at least 3 feet long. She was a big girl. So we go from big to the small, this cute little decorated war bonnet. This guy's always at Madrona. Two different times, but very shy usually. You don't get to often see how long their body is, or his or her body is. Now we're getting near the end of this episode, and we see here in the shallows these lovely little sea perch. I think they're called pile perch by using my fish ID book. And I'm not sure what type of fish these guys are. They're young juveniles, and there's a whole school of them. They may be perch. They may be a type of perch, given the spots on them. It's hard to say. Isn't that neat? Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Diving with Don and the Nanoose Critters, the third installment. Cheers!